Well, that's it. The Mandalorian season 3 is in the books. What did you guys all think? No post-credit scene, no Thrawn, no spy reveal. Um, what else did we? Or it says, "Yikes!" Oh man, I got really worried. I got really worried about the fate of Din and Grogu. But yeah, I'm not quite sure if a lot of fans are really gonna love this ending. Um, Jorge says, "How was I supposed to cry?" Liam says, "It was good, but Yeah, Josh, I agree, Joshua. It's a little bit underwhelming. I mean, there was a lot of tension there. I started feeling worried for Din there with those Praetorian guards, but of course, when you have a Force user, it makes things a whole lot easier to defeat them, obviously. But man, we lost the Darksaber. Another thing destroyed. First the Razor Crest, now the Darksaber. I have this Darksaber now, and it's like done. It's donezo. So maybe that Mandalorian Rambo. Maybe that opens up the opportunity to maybe use that crystal for something. Maybe in a different saber. Um, yeah, Liam. Thinking that the whole season has been underwhelming. Yeah, it kind of has. Yeah, no post credit scene, Maka. That's kind of surprising. So what is up, Ted? How'd you
What's
like
up,
the
man?
finale?
I feel like my camera's way too close. I'm like huge.
You're all good.
It was both entertaining, very what's the word I'm looking for?
Lots of flash, no
Very,
substance.
very intense in the first half, and then I wrote in my notes by the end of the episode, and they all lived happily ever after. The end. And then
Yeah.
I wrote in my notes by the end of the
Craig Four,
episode.
welcome to the post show stream. So you're already shaking your head. So what do you think, man?
I gotta go. It was a decent episode,
Yeah.
but compared to season 2, it was just really meh.
But then again, how are you gonna live up to Luke Skywalker showing up? I mean,
I know, but even like the way Moff Gideon died, just that looks so
did he
corny.
die?
I mean, it looks really corny.
Yeah.
And then the fact that he was cloning himself, okay, but he just left them there for nothing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he didn't have them guarded at all, really. And he was like, I'm gonna go off to get him, and then he like, where was he? He was like backwards in the base. He made it seem like he was going forwards, and he went backward. Like logistically, it just doesn't make any sense for me.
So how was that layout? Were those guards before the tanks?
It seems like it.
Yeah, so they were guarded and they had fortified doors, like 10-inch thick blast doors. So I mean, there was technically guarding there, but
I meant like
good old R5.
Yeah, I felt like he should have been like, guarding them.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like he was more like trying to leave than trying to find them.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Like I felt like when Din and Grogu were making their way into the base, he was gonna cut them off before and kind of surprise them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a little bit of a plot hole there. Then again, you can maybe attribute that to just being overconfident. But I mean, he was waiting for Din Djarin to show up. Essentially, he didn't go to him; he was just waiting.
But he said he was gonna go to him, didn't he?
I guess he didn't get to him fast enough. I don't know.
Yeah, he said, "I'm gonna take care of it myself." Whatever he said.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Just those things frustrate me. Where it's like logistically, if somebody says I'm going to go take air, you would think they would be heading in that direction, not going the other way.
Yeah. So Maka says right here, so he successfully gave himself the Force and hid it from the rest of the Empire remnants.
But he didn't give himself the Force. He was trying to give it to the clones, right?
Right. He essentially gave his clones the Force, but they hadn't woken up yet. I guess he thought he succeeded, and he just lost them. They got smothered by Din Djarin. Jorge says, so Moff Gideon was in the total of 5 episodes, lost laughs. Ship fell on him. Why did the guards just stand there unconscious?
It feels like there's plots that are revealed, and I mean this is an arc from season 1 that maybe should have had more of a aha moment.
Right.
Now
Yeah,
we
there was no like
know
big twist reveal.
it needed more drama is what it needed, and it just felt like we were sprinting through this episode when we really should have like taken the time to absorb some of the stuff that's being revealed. Making clones of himself and trying to harness the Force seems like a big thing. It seems like it should have been a
Right.
bigger deal in this episode, but needless to say, it didn't turn out that way. I guess I wish it would have. It should have been the big maybe payoff, and it should have been sort of like I don't know, mic drop moment, but didn't turn out that way. We I wanted was needing something to kind of really pay off, and instead
Yeah.
it was just kind of very straightforward. First half was very entertaining. Battle in the skies, love that stuff. No armor twist, so I'm gonna go ahead and say that was wrong. Um, but just kind of ending it on this like fairy tale, everybody lives happily ever after. Look, there's IG. Like
I was
everybody's
waiting for
cool
I was waiting for
now.
someone to say that. It's a
Sitting in his little
Disney ending.
cottage like that was like,
It's odd. It's odd is what it is. It's a strange thing. It feels like why watch anything going forward? You could end it here and you would be satisfied with they live happily ever after. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But we all know that it's not going to end here. It's going to keep on going with another season, plus the climactic event Filoni movie that we're going to get. That's going to tie all the threads together with Ahsoka and the defunct Rangers of the New Republic and um, Skeleton Crew and whatever else show they come up with. But yeah, the finale didn't hit as hard as I think we were all anticipating, and it's kind of a disappointment. I hate to say it, but uh, I mean, who were the spies? I mean, we know Elia Kane, but who else? Who was the other
doesn't
spy?
appear that it was a second one unless it was referring to the Shadow Council.
Yeah. Seems kind of like we were all kind of we misinterpreted the title there, and I think everyone was talking about that too. So I mean, it wasn't just like us; it was just about the whole world. Was like, okay, who's the other spy or spies? Yeah, that's a little surprising that we didn't get some type of reveal that way. Yeah, Micah brings that up. No reveal of the spy. Liam says, I think the clones having the Force was the aha moment. It just didn't work. Yeah. I mean, it didn't have the weight to it that I think that we were kind of waiting for. It was a revelation, but it wasn't like a big, like, oh my gosh. I think the most kind of nerve wracking moment was when we saw Grogu inside of IG-12 backing up with the Praetorians and the door slowly closing. It's like, oh my gosh, are they going to end the season this way? Of us not knowing? It might have been better if they did that.
Yeah, but something would have had to have happened with it. You know what I mean? Not just like with what we saw, him hopping around and
yeah. Yeah, Maka says we all owe
leaving
the
some
armor an
questions.
apology.
We sure do. Leaving something to the imagination, or giving us some questions to ask by the end of this episode is kind of what every show strives for. But we have no more questions. It's like all the questions have been answered now, and if the show, I'm not saying it will end, I'm just saying like Din's arc is complete. You know what I mean? He's taking up fatherhood. If Din's story ends here, then I think everybody would be kind of like a, yeah, okay, why not? Sure, other stories can go on, but
Yeah.
we don't need Din as much anymore.
Liam says clearly what he has done is important to bringing back Palpatine. Yeah. Micah says Din Grogu, not Grogu Jaren.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. Din Grogu. How does that even make any sense?
It's probably
Is
just
it
the Mandalorian naming convention that they went with. That is their custom, I guess. It's just backwards. Liam says feels like the end of the show. Yeah, exactly what Ted said. Jorge says, well, gents, what's 2 more years? We
2
got
more
Ahsoka in
years?
August, so we don't have to wait too long. Maka says, does Carson Teva count since he's getting info and sending Din on missions? I don't think so. Jorge says, so is Pedro just a voice actor now? Yeah, he didn't take off his helmet. This is the first finale where we didn't see Pedro Pascal's face, so
Is this the
essentially,
first season? I don't remember any part of the season he took his helmet off.
yep, first season finale, yeah, qualifies is pretty much the same thing, so
But
yeah.
like the whole season.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, the whole entire
finale,
season, yeah,
finale,
episodes.
sure, but like
Right,
the whole
the entire
season,
season, yeah.
he probably wasn't even on set. I'm just kidding. He probably was, but
I mean, with technology nowadays, I mean, you can just record your voice with
He
a
probably was filming The Last of Us the whole time.
right. Yeah.
That was really disappointing.
I'm gonna try to do a thing. Disney just released some high-res photos from the episode. This is probably one of the more interesting ones that they released.
Yeah, you see a Filoni with the custom-made hat that he told us about at Celebration that he does not own. And you also see Peter Ramsey right there on the far left. He's the director. Forget which episode, but he directed. He was one of the directors for Spider-Verse.
I'd rather have seen Zeb sitting there than.
I totally anticipated Zeb. I anticipated Zeb, Hera,
I was looking in the
maybe
back.
Sabine. Yeah. And we get Misty Rosas back there with their and they're wearing their cool bomber jackets there. But yeah, it's a little surprising how underwhelming the finale was.
What do the listeners think? Were they underwhelmed too?
Seems like it. Pretty much all the comments I've read so far, it's like, well, okay. Like Ted said, where's the huge payoff? And we lost the Darksaber. We lost another like cool thing that's just destroyed. Although they could take the crystal out of it and use it for another lightsaber, perhaps. Maybe something that fits in Grogu's hands. I don't know. But Bo's in charge now. She's like the queen of everyone, essentially. Maka says, I could see this being the end of Din's story and making Bo the Mandalorian. Possibility. What do you think if season 4, there's no Din or Grogu and it's Bo-Katan as the Mando? There was I think an interview done where either Filoni or Favreau said that the Mandalorian refers to, it's a plural word, so it can refer to the singular Mando or many of them. And I guess you kind of allude to the fact that it could be interchangeable between any character, and just about every character we saw on screen here could be referred to as a Mandalorian. But as far as the direction goes, I still think we're going to get Din stuff. We're still going to get Grogu stuff. I mean, they're essential. I think we might get less Bo stuff, but it just depends on the Thrawn plot. And I think all roads lead to Thrawn, which is surprising. We didn't get like an end credits, or that's another kind of head scratcher.
Questions.
When it was called
we
The
want
Return,
questions.
I was like thinking, oh,
Thrawn.
they're going to have Thrawn return.
but it was Return of the Mandalorians to Mandalore, and I think that's what it referenced. Looking at the comments here in chat. Let me see. Liam says, "What do you think of season 4 if there's no Din Grogu and it's Bo-Katan as the Mando?" I mean, I don't think so. I think we're still gonna get Din Grogu stuff, like I said before. Mega says, "Would have been cool to see Ghost Crew hanging out there." Yeah, I mean that was a perfect opportunity to be like, "Hey," and lead into the Ahsoka show, which is the next show. Jorge says, "Wow, so are they going to cancel this now?" I mean, to the general public, they might feel that way, but for us that know that there's going to be a season 4, we know there's more on the horizon, which is going to take a little while. Jorge says, "It seems the show is done." Maka says, "Definitely underwhelmed. I enjoyed the season, but overall very underwhelming." Jorge says, "Or possibly be giving them a way out to move on from the Mandalorian." Maka says, "We did get a little more Grogu action, though." Yeah, he was laughing when he was running along those lights or whatever, encircling the Praetorian Guard. I thought that was kind of funny, and just to hear the baby noises as he's being attacked, it was kind of like kind of strange. Liam says, "Didn't the Darksaber get completely destroyed in the explosion as she dropped it when getting crushed it?" Well, getting crushed it, so I think it's pretty much non-functional. And I thought the outer casing was made out of Beskar, right? So he.
Well, I guess his
I could be
super
wrong.
suit gave him like super strength.
Well, and I mean, if you can crush Beskar, it'd be easy to crush Bone. So that's a little bit of a hole there. Maka says, "Does it take much to get better than this season, though?" Yeah, the only way now is up for season 4 almost.
Oh my
I did
god!
like the Bo-Katan stuff. I did like the Katie Sackhoff kind of introduction and her being the main character. I'm a big Bo-Katan fan, so I was pleased with that. But I can see everyone's sentiment about the season as a whole in this episode. Jorge says, "Would have been cool to hear Grogu's first words." I thought that too. I thought we're gonna get his first words at the waters, the living waters of Mandalore. I thought we were gonna get it right then, and I was like bracing for it. I was like, "Oh, is it gonna sound right?"
Yeah, we didn't really get anything with the Mythosaur either. Like,
Yeah, we just got like a little shot of him, and I think Grogu maybe, I don't know, did a little something. I don't know, or maybe the Mythosaur is just waking up for breakfast or something. I don't know. Maka says, "You could hear his suit had mechanics." So yeah, you could definitely hear Moff Gideon's suit move around. So yeah, he was super powered and he was ready for a fight with Din. And I just thought about, where was Luke Skywalker? But of course, yeah, they wouldn't do that for storytelling purposes. But yeah, it's very surprising that we didn't get a lot of things that we were anticipating. We got nothing almost that we were anticipating. We
really,
didn't get spies. We didn't get Thrawn. We didn't get the Mythosaur in action.
we didn't get the Ghost. We didn't get Boba Fett. We didn't get Ahsoka. We didn't get Han Solo. We got nothing. We didn't even get Snaggletooth.
It's theories aside, the most surprising thing is just that it feels like not the end of a chapter. It feels like the end of the book. It we don't, like I mentioned, it's
Storybook
want to give
ending.
us something to look forward to. Ahsoka traveling to a planet, the face of Thrawn, um, the Shadow Council's really the only thing we have left for Mando to give his attention to. He's not aware of it just yet.
Yeah.
But show them panicking or show them trying to regroup just so that there's like a thread for us to hold on to until the next season, whenever that may be, 2025 maybe.
Yeah.
How these seasons take that long, right?
Yeah, about 2 years. So yeah, we
So
might get a premiere at Japan celebration.
I just think giving the fans just a nibble of something along those lines would have been maybe necessary to just not leave this space, this vacuum for us to not fill anything with.
Yeah.
I can't believe that Dave and John thought this season, that this would, after what they've put out, that they would put this out as the finale. It's just bizarre. It just doesn't fit in with the first two seasons at all.
I agree. I think you could
It's
almost
like,
say
what
that
happened here? Like, it doesn't make sense. Was Kathleen Kennedy trying to force changes? Was Filoni too busy with Ahsoka? I mean,
well, you also got to keep in mind, I think, when was Filoni given the keys to the first TV show turned into a film climactic event type thing? I mean, did that have any effect on the storytelling? Did he come up with the idea and said, okay, well, we got to get to this point now, so we got to modify this season to get to the film, and this is what needs to happen, and all their previous really cool big payoff moments had to be cut out? Or, I mean, that's a possibility. But yeah, it does feel odd that we didn't get payoffs. Daniel Scanlon says seems to have made a way to retire the Grogu Din characters and focus on the Mandalorian, then bring them out of retirement for the big Filoni movie. We know there's a season 4 though. That's the thing, and the only kind of piece of info and continuing information, I think, for the general public really that watched the finale was the fact that he went to Carson Teva and said, "I want to work for the New Republic," and that little story thread right there maybe, I don't know, tips off people that there's going to be more. But I mean, yeah, I mean, the way it ends like the end of a book, like Ted said. Liam says, so does this somehow lead to Din and Grogu being in Ahsoka? I think they show up in Ahsoka. They shot in literally the same place that they shot The Mandalorian. So I think the possibility and the chances are high for that. Maka says Ahsoka needs to hit it out of the park. So that's interesting that if Ahsoka knocks it out of the park, I think we're going to look at Filoni a whole lot different, because it feels like Filoni was less on Mando season 3 and concentrating more on Ahsoka, and it almost feels like maybe Filoni is the real kind of brains behind the a live action storytelling there for Star Wars, which would be kind of shocking because I mean it's Jon Favreau, the guy that brought us Iron Man and was with Marvel with their huge run that they had with film.
maybe the two of them just have to work together.
Yeah. Jorge says, I have a feeling that Kathleen is going to gaslight us and tell us that is the best show. It's another piece of Star Wars that didn't deliver to the fans, I think, what in general the fans wanted. Hate to say that, but I think that's the reality of it.
I think it's different. You don't have to give fans what they want. Nobody wanted Luke Skywalker at the end of season 2. I was like, there's no
I
way.
did.
Well, let me kind of rephrase that. I thought they'd have the balls to do that. I was like, there's no way they're not going to have the guts to pull this off. It's what the fans needed. It's not what fans wanted, but it's what fans needed. I think in this finale, there's elements you can give the fans that are unexpected, that are surprises, the twists, the turns, the drama that are still fulfilling and satisfying. But this just feels like empty. When you started the show, you said it was sort of no substance and just kind of feels like that.
I think David froze.
David, he's been frozen in carbonite. We're taking over the show. Oh,
Now, wait a
So,
minute. I
Greg,
don't know. Are we still broadcasting if he's not here?
yeah, it still says we're live. Everybody, we still live? I think we're still live. We've taken over. Everyone will receive midichlorians by the end of this stream.
Well,
Send
that's
us
good
your
news.
emails.
I think I lost some watching that episode.
Oh man, I'm not gonna. This is a weird show. At times, it it exceeds all expectations, but at its core, hey, there he is. At its core, if you go back to season one, it's still just like side quest Mandalorian show, and that's what it was, and that's what they try and remind us. And I think we all have this excitement that it's going to be this big, space battle throughout, but at its core, it's still side quest Mandalorian. And so it's weird. I think we need to try and harness or bring back in our expectations and appreciate it for what it is, and not try and make it this big cinematic event. That's just me, though. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of addressed that in the pre-show. Someone asked the question, "What do you expect to see tonight?" And Craig asked me, "What am I anticipating?" And my basic answer was, I go into these episodes not predicting what's going to happen, because usually if I do that, it doesn't happen the way I wanted it to, and then I get some form of disappointment. So I just go in there with kind of like a blank slate, just taking in what Favreau and Filoni and crew give us, and just kind of going from there, because otherwise I think I'd be disappointed most of the time.
I think you're disappointed, even though you had a blank slate.
Well, I mean, I've seen it. I've seen it one time. I know our first impressions are that there's no payoff. It didn't deliver. It seemed like it just ended. We got a very storybook ending, and we didn't get a lot of answers that we were all anticipating to get. But I'm gonna have to watch it again, kind of knowing what happens. I was really on edge for Din and Grogu at certain points in this episode, which didn't feel good. But
I really want to know how these Praetorian Guard weapons work. It seemed like Din took a half a blade
in
into
the
his
back, yeah,
clavicle, and I'm like, oh, he might die.
yeah,
And he kind of gets up, and it's not addressed, and he doesn't look any weaker for it.
right,
I don't know how these things work. If they're, I, it's confusing. When Homeboy took those blades last week, he was out,
right.
down,
They pierced them all the way through.
poof, and that was it.
Yeah. Mecca says, "Do you think maybe the story got too big?" I think they're trying to lead to an endpoint, and I think that's kind of the disadvantage that the story has now. Um, Daniel Scanlon says season 4 focusing on Mandalore itself. That'd be cool. I mean, I would like to see Mandalore be reestablished, but I mean, it has to be a good story. You have to have a good villain. Um, I mean, we still got Mythosaur stuff that they haven't really shown us on screen. Who's going to tame the Mythosaur? Is it going to be tamed? Um, I don't know where else we could go there.
Something about the way that they're editing it or filming it, it just doesn't build up in the tension very much.
Yeah. Jorge asked Rangers of the New Republic. Now they do that story for season 4. Um, Possibility. I mean, you have Harrison Dula. Um, of course, you don't have Cara Dune. She's off with the special forces.
If she survived.
Somehow she didn't survive. I don't know.
No,
But
she. I saw somebody online said that she could have been on the ship transporting Gideon back.
oh, yeah, that would make sense. But I think the way that they handled that situation in story was the best way to handle it. They didn't kill her off. They just said she's off with another team. So Um, Maka says, "Oh well, we got Jedi Survivor to hold us over for a while, and I'm sure that will be
Hey,
awesome." That comes out, I think, next week, 28th, so
a
9
week and
days,
a
I believe.
half. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Um, Jorge says he agrees with Maka. Jorge says, "Yep." Maka says, "Yes, we can hear and see you guys." Yeah, someone cut off my Wi-Fi. I'm on my hotspot now on my new iPhone 14, so hopefully it holds up here. Um, I don't know if that was Disney cutting me off or what, but
Craig uses force powers.
he wanted to end this episode too. Um, Dark Water says the episode was definitely disappointing because it was missing some things, but it still was a good episode. Yeah, I can take the positive from it. I mean, Micah says very good season. The Lizzo Jack Black episode didn't really give us anything aside from the Mandos at the end. What was it that they offered in return of their service again?
The key to the city or something.
More prequel stuff. Battle droids,
They
super
well,
battle droids.
they allowed Kreese to communicate with her old clan.
Right, with the
That
mercenaries.
so they held them captive until they
Yeah.
did what they want. Is that blackmail? I don't know, but yeah, no, that's what it was.
Overall, this season was just really disappointing for me. And I'm, I hate to be negative because I do really like the show, but I liked season one much better. And there were a couple episodes in season one that I didn't like at all, but it still was better than this.
Man, there was a moment at the very end when Din's talking to Carson Teva where I thought he was going to ask for a bigger ship, and I thought we're going to get this back.
Hey, that would have been
Yeah.
awesome.
Or I could just point right here.
Yeah, because how's he going to do bounty hunting in that ship, the N1?
Yeah. Technically not a bounty hunter, right? He's an independent contractor, which doesn't sound as cool. Maka says something high on my wish list is Boba Fett. I need a season 2 or him to show up soon, but I guess he's busy running Tatooine. We did not get confirmation of a season 2 of Book of Boba Fett.
Not a word, right?
Yeah, not a peep. Maka says it's Jack blackmail. Yep. All we need is a Lizzo pun now. But yeah, it's not what I thought we were gonna get. And thinking back to all the leaks that I read a long time ago, the stuff they got correct was Grogu inside the chest of an IG droid.
Yep.
Zeb showing up. They were wrong about going to Naboo. That was like a big rumor. I guess maybe they thought maybe N1 Starfighter, maybe the Keller and Beck stuff led them to think we're doing Naboo stuff. We saw the Naboo Royal Guard, those uniforms with the helmets, and we saw the starship, but we didn't get back to Naboo. Jorge says, how did the black saber cut through Beskar? Anyone else notice that? I did notice that if it did.
I think I missed that part.
Yeah, because I think she was always good. Well, she did stab one of the guys mid-air through the chest. I remember that part.
But maybe they
It
don't
was
have
through
like
the back.
pure Beskar.
Well, yeah, through the back, coming through the chest, right?
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
a weak point. I'm willing to let that one slide.
Yeah. I don't know.
Apparently, this was I'm actually trying to remember which episode this was from season 1. Do you guys recall?
Chapter 24. 24th episode.
Of season 1? No.
What are you,
Oh, I
The
thought you
photo?
meant the continuation.
you talking about that gunslinger episode?
No, this photo, yeah, of
Oh. I'll bring it up here.
Grogu.
That was the finale of season 1.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So they did a nice little callback to that.
Is that when IG sacrificed himself?
Yes, at the very end. And that's when Din needed the Bacta spray. And that's when the forgot the name of the trooper, like an incendiary trooper, the guy with the red in the face.
There you go. Nice, like you said,
Incinerator?
callback.
Was it Incinerator Trooper?
Yeah, I think so. Mike says,
I think
"Okay,
we're all
let's."
kind of shaking our heads here. Kind of, what happened?
Maybe they were focused on other things. Maybe they're focused. I think Filoni's full focus was on Ahsoka, and he was like, that's his baby. That's his and George Lucas's creation essentially, and I think his thoughts were there really. Mike says, "Okay, let's rate the season overall. Fair and honest answers." So overall, what is your rating for The Mandalorian season 3? 1 through 10.
I'd give it a 7.
I'm surprised you gave it that high a score, Craig.
It wasn't horrible, but
Yeah.
what the Jack Black episode, that was pretty horrible for me. But
Yeah. Jorge says 5.5 out of 10. I know we just watched the finale, and we're kind of swayed by that.
We're all feeling let down.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's excited. No, I don't think anybody in here is saying, "Oh, that was great. That was amazing."
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like it started amazing. It started amazing. I was into it. I was invested. And then somewhere in the middle, it just started running away. And I'm just like, wait a minute, we're not going to take time to look around and see what's going on. I think I give this between a 6.5 for the season. I I totally understand what they want to do with this show. They want it to be side quest adventure show and have fun with it and stuff. But its potential is so much more than that. Its potential, if you are plot driven throughout an entire season, can be magnificent. And I just don't think they want to try and do that. So we want more. I mean, if you go back to season 1, that IG-11, like that was a major payoff. Fans love that moment. We had spent multiple episodes with IG, and that was a big loss, and everybody felt it. And we didn't have anything to be invested with in this episode. We were just watching stuff happen. But where's the investment? Where's the engagement from the audience? We're missing a major component that we've had in the last 2 finales.
I totally agree with that. I agree with that assessment. Darkwater says the whole show for me was an 8 out of 10. I'm not that hateful of a Star Wars fan. I know when something is bad, this show is not. Yeah. I don't think we're being necessarily hateful. We're just, and I'm not saying you're thinking that we're hateful. I'm just saying that, like what Ted said, the potential is there for so much more than what we got. And we can lead ourselves down that road of being disappointed because, like I said before, if we're anticipating stuff and we don't get it, it's like disappointment is rears its ugly head there.
I mean, I think a 7 out of 10 for the season is
generous.
Fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now, I would say season 2, for me, I would probably give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I loved it. I can't even think of an episode that I didn't really love.
Yeah.
You know, if anything, the only time I felt a little disappointed was the last episode was Luke. The one before it was with the Bill Burr episode,
Believer,
right?
Yeah.
Incredible.
And then the one before that was Boba Fett. So I felt a little bit let down because the Boba Fett episode was so incredible that the next episode was a little bit disappointing, but then the finale was incredible. So there's a little bit of dip. But other than that, I would say the episode was or the season was a 9 out of 10 for me.
I
But this
actually
season,
love the Bill Burr episode. I thought that was great.
no, it was great. But I remember feeling at the time it was just like it felt like that Boba Fett episode was just so great.
Right, because you
Seeing him in action like that.
bring back a beloved legacy character the way they did him right. It was incredible. And of course, the Believer episode, Bill Burr is
That scene with Bill Burr was
strangely
great.
enough, he's an incredible actor. He's a comedian though, but he's an incredible actor whenever he does his thing on whether it's Breaking Bad or The Mandalorian.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah.
He was great. So, but for this season, I mean, if I'm gonna sit down and put on Mando anytime soon with my kids hanging out in the room or whatever, it's gonna be season 2. I'm not gonna watch this season. Tell me which episode you want to sit down and be like, oh, I want to see that episode again. There's not one episode this season that I'm like, oh, I want to see that one again. Like that, I would be like, I'll put on that Boba Fett episode, or a lot of the episodes from season 2. But this one,
Yeah.
I think I'll probably one of my last thoughts about this is like to kind of summarize maybe how off our experience is from the writing of this show, the finale. The final scene is Din and Grogu in a house, together as a family, no longer running, no longer fighting. And I should be feeling happier about that. But this whole season,
it felt awkward.
This whole season, it was never an emphasis of like we're longing for something. We're longing to settle down. We're longing to stop the fighting and being put in danger. Like it's a great moment, and I want to feel more about that. If it seemed like it was a really nice moment, and this season doesn't tell me why that was supposed to be a great way to end.
And R5 should have been there with them, right?
Hey.
Like he wasn't even in that final scene at all. Like, why is he not there? He helped save the day. He should be getting a nice oil bath.
Maybe he was returned back to Peli and Mado off screen there on Tatooine. They didn't want to show more Tatooine for some reason. But yeah, Liam brings up, do you think that you were held back by budget? I don't think it was by budget. I think it was by other resources, a.k.a. Dave Filoni concentrating on the script and being there with Favreau.
Were they shooting this season during COVID?
Well, I mean, essentially, if you consider last year during COVID, I know at Celebration last year they made us wear masks, or they kind of enforced it, but a lot of people didn't. So yeah, during that time they were actively shooting. Maka says we need to start our own shadow council to run Lucasfilm.
Well, you've already got the head of Lucasfilm right here.
There's his title right there.
My screen.
So Jorge says, yep, season 9, 10 for sure. Micah says season 2, best season, definitely 9, 9, 5, 10. Jorge says the dialogue was amazing for the Boba Fett episode. Everything, I think, was amazing for that episode. Jorge I thought Skinny Pete was going to be the villain. Lots of laughs. Another Breaking Bad reference. Micah says, I agree, not as rewatchable as previous seasons. I have to watch it all in one go. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Season 1, Season 2, totally rewatchable. Micah says the ending closing on Grogu and Din felt like an old Western or sort of a Django sort of thing. I liked it. Yeah, they played upon that.
And boy, could that house have been any tinier?
I know. That's what I thought. I was like, wow, that's a little... Man, Grief Karga.
It looked so tiny. It was like, is there even a bedroom and a bathroom in there?
Maybe
thanks for saving the planet. Here's your barn. Go live in this little
Here's
thing.
Your tiny home.
Here's your shed.
Maybe I was gonna say maybe it's like the Lars Homestead where you see the top of it and then it goes down. I don't know.
Let's hope, because he saved the planet, and they'll like give him this little shed.
Liam in the UK says need to head to work. We'll catch you guys later. See you later, Liam. Micah says we had a sand studio. Karga got a little greedy. Jorge says he should get a castle for all he's done. Yeah. So IG-12 essentially got ripped apart by the Praetorians, and then we got IG-11 back as the marshal. So Taika has a job once again in season 4, possibly. Maka says gave him a hut with a little pond. Yeah, with some frogs. But yeah, I think that we've pretty much said all we could say for our initial reaction, our instant react to the Mandalorian season 3 finale. Yeah, it's a little disappointing. Just I think for the simple fact that we're not going to get this show for a while. But you never know. We might get the whole like insert Din and Grogu and Ahsoka. I don't know.
Would not be surprised by that whatsoever.
Yeah.
My summary of this season is it felt like those really awkward Clone Wars episodes that every once in a while would creep in there, and you'd be like, oh, today was a real stinker. You know, we all know those episodes.
Yeah.
But then you have like Siege of Mandalore, which is like...
Yeah. The Shark People episode comes to mind. Jorge says maybe they can bring Moff Gideon that way and give him justice. I'm not quite sure if he's dead. I don't know.
I mean, those suits do repel fire. Was his helmet on in that last second?
Yeah, I mean, his suit was different. You obviously got that from this episode. So
I thought it was smart to put Giancarlo in a full suit with a helmet. That way you can actually have Gideon do something. He was throwing Din around.
Yeah.
You know, moving pretty quick.
That was
pretty
wild.
Hey, it's not a bad idea. Kind of worked. And then it killed him. Maybe there's a clone that didn't get destroyed, and that would be future Gideon 2.0.
And you would figure that would be like a post-credit thing, you know?
No post-credit. What a bummer.
That's Craig's quote.
I mean, think about how happy we'd be if we at least had seen some little snippet of Ahsoka.
Even an Ahsoka, like, little tease.
Snippet. Ahsoka just flying to the planet to meet up with Sabine or something. Like,
yeah. Maka says, I feel strongly that they will show up in Ahsoka. Maybe Ghost Crew and Mando have a mutual in Carson Teva, and they meet up that way. That's totally possible. That's how Craig gets it. I ride with him. Micah says, I think that's what bugs me the most. No post-credit scene. Yeah, that does really kind of like, really? I mean, you did it the last season. Now I think fans are expecting it. And Jon Favreau is a Marvel alum. They do it for every Marvel movie. So it is odd.
A little something would have helped us through the traumatic evening.
Even if it wasn't a post-credit, something at the very end, almost like what they did with Carson Teva approaching that Lambda shuttle and seeing the Beskar stuck in the wall. Something like that, but I don't know.
Peculiar.
Yeah. Yep. All right, guys. If you guys got anything else, I think that's it, and we should all go to bed.
What? We're not gonna watch Power Rangers Once and Always right now?
No.
I'm just kidding.
I think I'm gonna be happy to get my sleep back. My normal
hopefully, some of you guys out there enjoyed this episode. And I meant the podcast. I know you didn't enjoy the finale, so our episode.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thank you to everyone in chat. Thank you all season long. We've done pre-shows and post-shows, I think, for just about every episode, right, Craig?
Yeah, I think so.
I think I've sent you guys invites the whole time.
Now, see, the thing is about our audience is that they have such low expectations that they're not disappointed.
Yeah,
And I appreciate that.
we have that built-in component to the podcast there.
Set the bar low. We're season 3 of Mandalorian of podcasts.
Yeah, when we started, Craig was just a lowly production floor worker, and he made his way all the way up to head of Lucasfilm. So never give up on your dreams, kids. But yeah, seriously, thanks everyone in the chat. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for all the likes and subscribes. We've gained a fair bit of followers on YouTube and on Facebook, on our Facebook group. And thanks to Ted, thanks to Craig, thanks to everyone that showed up throughout this season. I know it's kind of rough. That's something they got to change. They got to move it from midnight Pacific to 7 p.m. or 7 p.m. Pacific would work. I mean, even if it was a little bit later. I mean, because this is rough.
No reason that this shouldn't come on at 8 o'clock so everybody can watch it with their kids. Ridiculous.
Yeah. So
3 o'clock in the morning is brutal.
Hopefully someone at Disney's watching, someone at Lucasfilm, because it feels like sometimes someone is. But yeah, with that, I will sign us off for the last time for The Mandalorian Season 3. For Ted and Craig, my name is David. May the Force be with you.
This is kind of the way.
This is not the way. This is not the way.